Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Howdy, welcome to the 2020 podcast. Today we're going to be looking back at James Foley's adaptation of David Mamet's stage play, Glengarry Glen.
Have I got your attention now? Good. Because we're adding a little something to this month's sales contest. As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired.
Hi, I'm Kris Kristensen, president and co-founder of the 2020 Awards, and I'll also be your host for today's show. Our guest today is award-winning writer, director, editor, Bao Tran. Also joining us is Vice President Danny Cork.
Hello.
And our producer and engineer, Lee Christopherson.
Hey.
If you're a film industry professional and would like to join the 2020 voting syndicate, please contact us through our website, which is 2020awards.org. That's 2020awards.org. And without further ado, let's get this thing going. So, Bao, how are you?
I'm well. Happy to be here.
Thanks for being here. And had you seen the movie before?
I have seen the movie.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw it?
Gosh, I want to say it was maybe 10 years ago on the video home system.
Yeah. It's fancy video home system.
Yeah, so I totally saw it after all the hubbub. But anyways, I remember seeing it, and I remember really liking it.
Danny?
I saw it about 10 years ago for the first time. I've seen it about half a dozen times. I think the first time I rewatched it to try and figure it out, because it moved by very quickly, and I've sort of watched it just for pleasure every time since.
For pleasure?
Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds seedy. That's just it. I watched it...
Sounds ridiculous.
No, I like the movie. I saw it once, to try and figure it out. Yeah, purely.
All right. Well, we're gonna try a slightly different format this time around, and we're just gonna kind of go through the story and hit the major beats and kind of talk about the film as we progress. And we drew straws and we put Danny in charge.
Did we draw straws? I don't think it was anywhere near that democratic. I think it was volunteered. All right. It was dictatorial. I was chained up and forced to do this. So, four salesmen, played by Alan Arkin, Ed Harris, Jack Lemmon, and Al Pacino, find themselves under the gun when a senior employee from their sales firm tells them that the two men with the lowest sales figures after 1 week will be fired. Alec Baldwin plays the messenger sent from the company to issue the threat, and his monologue has become famous for its quotability. Discuss.
Give examples.
Well, it's funny because that monologue is the only thing I remember from this movie from 20 years ago.
Well, people who've never seen the movie know that monologue.
Right.
I don't know. I've not seen the play, so without that scene in the film seems pretty integral. So,
well, it's not in the play, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've read.
It's written for the film, how is this issued? How does this challenge come about? And it seems like the film is maybe an entirely different beast from the play. I don't know. I think in the film it sets up a pretty bold, okay, here's the score. Two of you are gone. It's a threat. It's a call to action. I think it's effective. I think Alec Baldwin's great in it.
That speech is not just important, I guess, because it's so culturally ingrained, but it's supposed to tell you what the story's about. And it was kind of misleading in that sense, because I had a hard time hooking on to the rest of the film with relation to that.
So in what way did it mislead you? You were saying it sort of gave you the idea it was one thing, but it was in fact another.
There was a lot of... He basically said, you guys are fired, right? Now to get your job back, you need to get on the board. So he's kind of clearing the chess pieces and saying everybody needs to claw their way and get together. And people start protesting, and he's like, you don't like it? Get out. That becomes a constant thing. You don't like it? Get out. You want to be a man, or you can get out. So that seems to be the question. I want to say, okay, am I anticipating that this is what this movie is going to be about? They always have this choice about whether they can stay in and fight each other or get out. So that seemed to be where my mind was starting to anticipate or move towards.
I didn't feel like this movie was about anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a bunch of guys selling shit, and I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it felt like the movie was about leads and not people. It's all they ever talk about is the leads, we gotta get the leads.
But, okay, so what do the leads represent?
They get fired, but so what? they were all going to, like, half of them were going to leave and go across the street and work for this other guy anyway. So there was nothing at stake for me.
What about, okay, let's talk in terms of theme. Could you see a theme? Could you see something that, I mean, I'm just trying to say...
I couldn't. I mean,
I think
you've
it's...
seen it
I
more
mean,
than
to
I
me,
have.
yeah. My take on it, and it's interesting because I think my take on it has changed knowing that David Mamet is quite conservative, but I believe... but I thought it was... I mean, there's a lot of references online to Death of a Salesman and sort of the idea of the American dream making it in a capitalist society. That's what it seems like about... That's what I've always interpreted it as. Maybe... I mean, I don't think that's a Marxist interpretation. I just saw it as a rat race. It's a movie about the rat race.
It seems relatable to anybody who's ever had a job, that pressure of performing in your job. And, this, and the salesman is traditionally like a crappy job, that everything you do is based on numbers. Like, you could see instantly how well you're doing at any given moment.
I guess I've never had a job like that.
Right.
And the ones where I came close, I was just sort of like, I don't care. I'm leaving. So
Well, that's great that you could do that, but that's not most people's experience with having jobs where they can just leave whenever they want. And these guys were talking about, we can just leave. If you don't like it, quit. Where are they going to go?
Well, like
they did.
This is their job.
They could go across.
They can go across. Well, they could talk about going across the street, but why aren't they across the street then? If they cross the street's this land of beautifulness, go. But they aren't going. They have to bribe the guy to get a job by stealing the Glengarry leads.
But, like, at least show me that option isn't open then.
It seemed pretty obvious that option wasn't open to them.
That happens all the time when we're talking about movies, I feel. Where it's like, it seemed obvious, but you have to show us. You have to show us that that's not a reality. You have to show us that...
I felt like they were showing us.
They just talk.
Well, everybody talks about getting a better job.
Right.
How many people get a better job? None of us.
That's irrelevant to a movie, though.
But that's what makes it relatable. I mean,
But
do you have to
still
have your
exactly.
hands held the entire time?
You still have to show us, is that a reality for these people, or is it not a reality for these people? Like, the whole movie, I guess, hinges on Jack Lemmon, something happening, somebody's in a hospital, his daughter, something. I don't know what the hell was going on with his family. Thus, I didn't care. And so, like, if Ed Harris is saying, like, I'm going to go across the street and get a job at so-and-so's place, show me that can happen or not happen. Because then I start to care if it's like that's just all, posturing. And until I know whether or not that's posturing, then I'm like, all right, he's going to go across the street and get a job with this other guy.
But did anybody else think it seemed really obvious that really wasn't an option?
Yeah, I mean...
It seemed to me like if you were going to have that job across the street, you'd have that job across the street.
Yeah,
you
but
wouldn't
that's
be
a big
complaining
assumption.
about it day after day.
Yeah. I understand. Anyone who hates their job knows that feeling. I understand. But, I mean, in the movie, they could have moved. And they did. I mean, Jack Lemmon's character reached out and sold the leads to the guys. So
without those leads, that job wasn't enough.
But imagine, like, what if we saw a scene where they tried to say, hey, we want to jump ship, and the other guy's like, you're done. I don't want to deal with you. Then you go, okay, now they have to deal in this job. Like, that scene would have done something to put them in that rock and the hard place,
Yeah, I just didn't feel like anybody was... I didn't know what was at risk for anybody in this movie.
So, to sort of bring it back to where we are in the story, what did that say to you? I mean, what at the end of that scene... So, Bao was talking about feeling slightly misled. I mean, you concur with that. What kind of movie do you think you're in for when you watch this?
Well, I mean, I think when you have him say, like, hey, okay, you guys gotta step it up. It's like, okay, we're gonna watch these guys step it up now, and they do. I mean, they get desperate and they start talking about stealing and whatnot.
Right.
But again, I never got into this film. I just couldn't have cared less about anything that happened to anybody in the film.
I want to clarify, because you said that I might have felt misled. Like, I don't feel misled until after the movie.
So you're kind of like, I'm along for this ride,
right,
but I bought
stage,
a ticket to something entirely different.
No, at that stage, that first 10, 15, 20 minutes in the movie, it's like, I'm a sponge. I'm just going to soak it in and see what this movie is trying to tell me or where it's going to go. So that, at this stage, I don't really have anything critical or anything really that big to say. But it's really what I'm saying is, does the rest of the film build on what was given to us in those first 20 minutes? So I think that's what I want to get at.
So after Alec Baldwin leaves, the guys are left to threaten, cajole and bribe each other in a desperate effort to reach the top of the board. We learn that Jack Lemmon's character, Shirley the Machine Levin, a has-been whose sales pitches now sound canned and overdone, has a sick daughter in the hospital with bills he can barely afford to pay. He tries bribing the office manager, Kevin Spacey, for better leads, the coveted Glengarry leads, but to no avail.
You said something about, the Machine Levin, who's had better days. Is that
Yeah, he's a has-been, right?
But have we? Was he a good guy, or is he just kind of, again, boasting?
No, that's a fair point. He might have this imagined history. I mean, he's still working at the lower echelon of this sales firm. So maybe it is. Maybe he was the top of the board, 5 or 6 years ago, but he's not now. He's down on his luck. You're right.
I mean, you get that later when they're, acknowledging him as the machine. It's like, okay, but I should have had something like that a little bit earlier.
Well, I feel like he brought it up quite a bit. Like he was having a really bad month. If we're going to take what they're putting in the script at face value, that he was saying that he had better times and he was having a slump, and this guy clearly knew what he was doing. And the saddest part of the movie is this guy could have had 20 years of great sales, and the last 2 months sucked, and it's like he's about to get fired, and it's like, what have you done for me lately? Which is what happens in sales.
Not to kill the sacred cow. Can we tell him now?
Yeah, do it.
This script is kind of all over the place in the sense that I like what Mamet's doing. I think he understands what's at stake for the scene, what people need and what people want from each other in the scene. When Levin is trying to get the Glengarry leads from Spacey, and that's just kind of... But that scene should have been much shorter. All these scenes should have been a lot shorter. Because they keep going back and forth that. I think we've imitated that Mametism. We're what?
Oh my God.
What?
That scene.
Oh, yeah. That's painful.
And this stuff gets stretched out where the running time should have been much shorter.
It doesn't feel like a film that is... a script that has been adapted for a film. It just feels like still a stage play.
Well, I'll say this. The movie is, incredibly slow for being so fast-paced. The dialogue comes at you really fast, the actors are really executing, but the scenes aren't really going anywhere. And it's not really... It just drags on. You're like, oh, I get it, all right. So I think that's what I feel like. The director and the actors were all about, let's make it fast.
Mammoty.
Whatever it is. But even the cutting was what? They would cut to one shot, the close-up, the other close-up, what? And they would say one line to each other. And the cutting contributes to that busyness. But it's really not doing anything. It's like spinning your wheels.
One of my beefs with Mamet, all the characters sound like one character. Every scene between Arkin and Harris was just do you know what I'm saying? Are you saying this? I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Funny.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's so that's what you're saying, right?
I had a drama teacher because I had to do a Mamet monologue.
A Mamet monologue?
A Mamet monologue.
A Mamet monologue.
I had to do one of those for one of my drama classes.
You talking about a Mamet monologue?
That's what we're talking about.
Are you just talking about this, or are we just talking about it?
Yeah, we're just speaking about it.
Speaking about it as an idea.
Yes.
We're not actually talking about it.
No.
Talking about it as a...
No.
As a robbery.
As a robbery? No.
I think you'd call Alan Arkin and Ed Harris both seasoned good actors.
Sure.
And if you're watching it and you're still going, this doesn't make any sense and it doesn't feel natural, then your dialogue failed.
Did anyone feel Alan Arkin's character was not really doing anything?
Yeah. I do. I think
he
a
almost
weak
didn't
character.
take the part.
Okay.
Because he felt it was weak.
Oh, really? Okay. Because, you could basically summarize every character. The boss, Ed Harris, the bully, Al Pacino, the hearts. But, yeah, that character was kind of limp, and it just felt like a foil or as a distraction for the robbery.
There was never a moment when Ed Harris says to Arkin, we should steal the leads. I'm thinking, oh, don't do it.
Right.
I was just like, somebody do something. Let's make something happen here. Anyway, on that note, let's take a little break. We'll get some more beer, hit the latrine, and maybe steal some leads.
Maybe hear some jazz.
Preferably all together.
Say jazz.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to some jazz. Everybody snap your fingers.
Ba-da-dum-bum-bum.
Scarecrow Video is one of the largest independent video stores in the country, located in Seattle's beautiful University District. One of the last remaining brick-and-mortar stores featuring DVDs, VHS, Laserdisc, and Blu-ray. If you can't find a movie at Scarecrow, it hasn't been filmed yet. For more info, visit scarecrowvideo.com.
Located in a converted dentist's office, the Grand Illusion is Seattle's classiest, weirdest, and completely volunteer-operated cinema, screening the world's finest art house, foreign, and revival films. Located in the University District right across from the Jack in the Box. For more info, visit grandillusioncinema.org.
This is like one of the worst scores I've ever heard.
But I'm just saying,
I was waiting for Pacino just scatting and bopping and one of the music was just like
and that speaks to like, hey, we got to be fast. Like,
I agree with that.
Type of,
I think,
yeah.
This is the most hackneyed thing, the hackneyed description of jazz ever. But to say that jazz is made to imitate the rhythms of life, in this case, seems quite true. And so I'm less bothered by it than you are. Although it really is it is prominent.
This,
and it is
this
distracting,
score, which by the way, we should credit James Newton Howard with.
Let's credit the word you want to
James
use.
Newton Howard.
The score is as bad as the Malcolm X score, which you guys hated.
No, I give this one better than the Malcolm
Oh
X
yeah, I
score.
agree.
I will take.
This one wasn't as distracting.
I will take slightly incongruous over sentimental, tugging at my heartstrings any day of the week.
And Danny, why don't you take us into the next beat of the story?
The next morning, the sales firm appears to have been robbed. The Glengarry leads are gone. There's a police officer on the property that grills each man individually, though we never see any of the interrogations. Ricky Romer and Sheldon Levin are both riding high from making sales. Romer has closed a property deal with a man from the restaurant, Jonathan Price, and Levin has sold to an older couple he's been wooing for months. Harris resents their boasting, and a furious yelling match ensues. How up you are! Sorry. We'll get that.
Well, if we're going to talk about Pacino, I'd like to talk about the production designer.
We can go into that. Well,
Whoa.
this is a good lead.
Let's talk about the wardrobe.
Can we talk about
The production design by Jane Musky, I think, should really not just get nominated, but it should win, because with all the scenery chewing that was going on in this movie, particularly from Pacino.
There we go. There's
that
the
was a
segue.
convoluted setup.
That took a while.
And you're a writer. You could have handled that more deftly.
I do think, just on the feel, like I felt like I was getting more about the characters in that second half, who they were. That the machine is the machine. He was back on top, and I think everyone kind of acknowledged that back in the day you were on top. And I'd never seen anything like that before, because he was just saying that he was in a slump. Mm-hmm. I couldn't take that on face value.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the two characters we saw at work, we saw Shelley, who was kind of old school, well, sir, do I have a plan for you? And then you'd see Ricky Roma, who's more just chatting someone up and just has that confidence. It's kind of like two generations of salesmen, and we got to see both of them working.
So Jonathan Price shows up and tries to renege on the contract. His wife has told him that he has 3 days to reconsider before going through official channels to have the deal cancelled. Roma, with assistance from Levine, creates a ruse to help save the sale, but the whole thing is blown when the office manager gives the game away in a clumsy attempt to assist. Jonathan Price leaves, and Roma is enraged.
Well, he really does a great dressing down of the Kevin Spacey character. He just puts him in his place.
Yeah.
Who's kind of been a dick the whole time.
It's all about one-upmanship. That's what I feel like this movie's about. It's about strength and weakness. It's like yesterday they were, yesterday's news, and now they're out on top and they think they have license to just on each other and tear each other apart.
Yeah, but I mean, to what is that what it's about?
Yeah, I do.
People can on each other.
Yeah, I think
when
it's
they're on
about.
top?
I think it's utterly about how dehumanized these people all are. What their job makes them.
When I say I don't know what it's about, I'm not saying I don't know what the story is.
No.
I'm saying thematically, I don't know what it's trying to say about life.
If you had to venture a guess,
What's your takeaway?
yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Does it have to say anything about life? It feels like to me it's just like it's a slice of life.
You
It's like this is what it's
I don't
like.
think it's slice of life.
If you want to come over to my house and listen to me talk about what I did yesterday for 90 minutes without a point, then I guess you would like this movie. But if you're gonna ask me to sit down for 90 minutes, you better have a point to what you're telling me.
I do agree that I can't really take away anything. I'm not sure what the overall point is, but I do think this movie hits some nerve. I think that's why it's so much part of our culture that we reference always be closing. It's like Office Space to me, where everybody knows TPS reports. You know, everybody knows you got a case on Mondays, right? Because it speaks to something really universal. The movie's not that great. Office Space is not that good a movie.
It's relatable.
Yeah. But it's touching on certain notes that I think people really respond to.
Because it's about success, and I think it's that particular species of success that Americans know, which is about work. If you work hard, you are entitled to the American dream. It's showing that reality, or the reality of that versus the ideal of that, the notion of that, and how these men are failing at that, despite how hard they work. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I work really hard. Why haven't I got
Why don't I drive
XYZ?
a $80,000 BMW to work, and why isn't my watch worth more than what that guy makes in a year?
Right, and it shows how dehumanized they become in their fruitless quest for the American dream.
This movie would have been better shorter. Either that or find some pieces to hook, you know, these characters a little bit stronger at this length. But given the pieces, the beats that are there, I think it's there. It just needs to be shorter. And I'm like kind of idealist as far as like stories have a sweet spot, like not too long, not too short. Like every story there's a reason Lawrence of Arabia is 3 hours long. There's a reason, you know, these great shorts that you see out there are only 2 minutes long. Right? But I'm just saying, like every story has a certain spot. So we might be looking at a case of where this is getting stretched out more than it needs to be.
There's no character in this movie that goes against the grain and says like, this. I'm not going to live my life this way. Like when you tell the story of Goldilocks or Little Red Riding Hood or the 3 Little Pigs, there's like, you've got 3 choices. Here are your options. And you have to show somebody going, no, yes. But this was just like, I'm just going to keep going. Every single one of those characters fulfilled the same destiny, basically.
So alone together in the office, Shelley Levin mocks Kevin Spacey, the actor, for his bungling, but inadvertently lets slip a detail that reveals himself as the man that burgled the office. After a second round of bribes and eventual begging, Spacey humiliates Levine, revealing that his recent sale probably won't stick as the buyers are crazy. He then goes to tell the cop. That actually, just reading that, going, oh yeah, that seems like it's kind of like when he says, they just like talking to salesmen. It seems like that's a moment. There are moments that are milked so heavily by the actors that you're like, oh, is this an important moment? Because every moment feels like an important moment. Thus, no moment is important, or at least you're left trying to discern what moments are thematically the more important.
I don't know. For me, it's weird. It's sort of like he gets credit for like, oh, you know, he doesn't spoon feed the audience, but it's like, right. But instead, I'm just sitting there going,
what the hell's going on?
Right.
I mean, for me, a character has to be compelling, and I didn't find these guys compelling at all.
Does it have to be compelling for the film to be quote-unquote good?
Yes. Well, in the sense that, like, for me, at the end of the day, does watching this movie give me something to be a better person? I mean, that's...
Is that your criteria for what... Really?
Yeah.
For like every film you see, the end result wants you to be a better person?
Yeah.
No, I think
really?
I think that's a good criteria.
No, moral, right? A Greek moral. Right?
I think a moral is a good thing.
But as far as like, does this tell me like, oh, I don't want to ever sell my soul like that? Okay, that's one way. Godfather. Right?
And did you extract anything from this?
No.
No, I was just going to say, like,
you don't want to be a salesman?
Like,
yeah, well,
well, like when you get to the end of the movie, right? It's like, here comes Jack Lemmon up to Kevin Spacey. He's like, but what about my daughter? And he's like, F*** you.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I couldn't care less. Like that to me is the big question. Is like when you get to the end of the movie and your lead guy, as we've decided is in this case, and you don't care that he's about to just, you know, like everything he's been doing for this daughter who's maybe in a hospital or who knows what's going on. None of his plans are going to work out for him, and he's going to jail. And I'm just like, okay, I wonder what restaurants are still open.
So really, what it boils down to is if you'd have cared about the Jack Lemmon character more, the film at all, this movie might have had more of a point for you or resonate with you.
Well, sure, but I think that's true of any film. I mean, you know, look, we talk about Jaws all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, when Brody shoots the shark and it blows up, it's like, yay, the shark is dead. hated that shark, but it's because you're rooting for Brody, not so much that you're rooting against the shark in that case. But, I just feel like here's your main character who's going to jail because he's trying to save his daughter, and you still don't care about that.
Why don't... I don't want to open up a can of worms.
Open it.
I guess at this point.
Well, I think...
Well, why don't you care? I mean, like...
Because he doesn't like the movie.
I have
No. But he's saying he doesn't like the movie because he doesn't care.
Right.
I have no idea why I didn't care. I think it was... Part of it was because... First of all, who is she? I've never met her in the film. I've got no connection outside of Lemmon. I just see this guy...
Just hear about it.
Desperate and I don't care about his desperation, and it's partly because I don't know what's going on outside. I don't know what's going on in his life, except that he wants it comes back to he wants those leads. It was more about him wanting leads than taking care of his family.
The leads to me were a means to an end. The motivation was taking care of the family.
Sure.
And making money.
But you didn't care because you didn't see the daughter.
I know more about a guy who was going to pick up his wife and his daughter from band practice or whatever that Lemmon was trying to sell to than I knew about Lemmon's family. That is a mistake, I think.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the criticisms that have been levelled at it are all legitimate. I think it could be tighter. I think it could be more honed. I think it could have more of a fine point. But I think thematically it's still strong. I said that about Unforgiven. And I think there's some great performances. I think Al Pacino does overact, but I think it works. He got worse, and I think this was where it was appropriate. I thought he was a super ego, alpha male character, and I think it was apt. I think Jack Lemmon was great too. So I would put it Jack Lemmon and Al Pacino. I would like to see nominated.
Bao.
Will it stand the test of time?
It hasn't.
Has it? If big acting will always be appreciated throughout eternity, then yes. Yes, in that sense. I think if the 2020 gives this movie awards with under the acting categories, it'll be for the same reason.
I think the only thing I would nominate it for is Best Supporting Actor, Alec Baldwin, because I think that performance of any of them has absolutely stood the test of time. And it's super memorable. It's the most memorable thing about a movie, and I think that's what a supporting actor part should be. I mean, it made his career.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that is kind of how and why maybe we remember this movie is Alec Baldwin. I do think Lemmon stood out. I think he did a good job. I don't know if I would give him the award for Best Actor. I think I might nominate him, but I think that's about it.
Just to hone in on directing, there was that thing about the trains, the subway trains. There was a visual thing throughout the whole thing. The titles were in train passing.
Oh, right, in the end, the last shot.
And that was the last shot that we're going to walk away.
What the was that?
It's this is day-to-day life. The train runs at 9, it probably runs at 5.
Yeah.
Life rolls on regardless of the actions of these people. It's a cruel world, and it's just going to keep turning regardless of the the hopes and dreams of these people that inhabit this world.
I like the movie now.
But wait, so I know...
Thank you. You're welcome, David Mamet.
And on that note,
okay,
Bao, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Where can people see your movies?
Oh, you can find it online. Just find us on the handle POV Films on Facebook or Twitter, pov-films.com.
Perfect. All right. Thanks again. Next month we're going to be taking a look at Bad Lieutenant, and if you guys think we bagged on this movie today, I've never seen this movie, but I suspect we're all going to have a lot to say about Bad Lieutenant, starring a naked, sobbing, masturbating Harvey Keitel.
Oh, he masturbates?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, so,
I might not watch
bring
that
your video
one.
camera to the theater with you. Bad Lieutenant screens Thursday, December 13th at Seattle's Grand Illusion Cinema. Check our website for times. Prices are $8 for the general public and free to 2020 members and subscribers. If you're a movie lover and would like to support us, you can subscribe to us annually. Your annual subscription gets you into 10 of our monthly for your consideration screenings here in Seattle, and a ticket to our annual ceremony in February, plus lots of other perks. It's over $100 value for only $40. To enroll, just visit us at 2020awards.org and look for the 2020 Film Club subscriber link. We are an all-volunteer organization, so every little bit helps. And speaking of which, we'd like to thank our sponsors today, Scarecrow Video and Grand Illusion Cinema. Once again, you can find us at 2020awards.org, where we have a list of all of our past winners and some photos and video clips of our surrogates accepting on behalf of the actual winners. Lots of other cool stuff there, too. You can find other podcast episodes as well. And on behalf of my co-host...
No, we're on iTunes now, too.
Fuck, you're right.
Isn't that great? That's cool. Like, we're legit.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say... We are doing we commissioned 10 artists to come up with 10 different movie posters from 1992, and we've got a really gorgeous one from. They're all really beautiful, but like the one from Glengarry Glen Ross is a really cool poster. Thanks for listening, and remember, until next time, it's never too late to start thinking about the past.